Hello, and welcome back to Doomed, solo playthroughs through Arkham Horror, the card game with a focus on roleplay and storytelling. Today, Silas Marsh finds the heart of the Innsmouth conspiracy in A Light in the Fog. You'll notice it is slightly before the given hour. That's because I always try to keep you on your toes. No, it's because there's people in the chat, and that means we're ready to have a good time. There are even more people in the chat, which means we are ready to have a good time. Has this campaign been... Ugh, good. Yikes. I mean, I think Silas has a strong back and at least one good leg. He also has one very bad leg, as we are aware. As we move in towards the finale, we're not there yet, I don't think, of the campaign. I will point out that this has been wildly frustrating for me as a player, but I think it has given some excellent story moments. If you're watching this on the VOD on YouTube, and I know some of you are, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You can always jump down below to the timestamp for where we get into the action, if that's your jam. If not, we'll do a little recap, we'll read the intro, the agenda and the act, figure out what's going on, and we'll get to it. Is there anything else I need to say? Not a heck of a lot. Just get a scooter. Exactly. Weirdness is right. Who needs to run when thou canst scoot? There's all sorts of other streams happening in the community around Doomed, or on this channel, I should say. You can join our Discord with the RPG Clinic community to find out more. I wanted to also mention that in just a few weeks' time, RPG Clinic will be hosting a new mini-series, a new mini-campaign, Blades in the Dark, as run by yours truly. I'm really, really jazzed. I've run a couple of one-shots over on RPG Clinic. It's a great group of people, as you all know, and I'm really looking forward to bringing you something a bit more long-form, but natch. I'm not to be trusted with something longer than that, so I am pretty excited. We may even have some preparatory streams. It's looking a little loud there. Let's turn that down. We may even have some preparatory streams to talk about, you know, the things I want to see in the game and how the crew's going to come together and all that sort of thing. As always, let me know if the audio's working for people. I think we should jump in. Do I have much more to say? I always have a ton to say, but I think we should just get to it. A Light in the Fog. Now, to my actually, straight up news here. I don't replay the campaign like right before I stream. I like to have a good sense of it, and I have played most of the campaigns before, but I don't remember every detail, as you are all aware. But this is as far as I've gotten in this campaign before. The last time I played, I did not get beyond this scenario. I.e., I didn't kind of continue to play the others. So, it's not new from here on out, but I certainly don't remember what's going on. Which should be interesting. It's still a little loud, eh? Turn that down a bit more. I like to have a nice, balanced music to scoots ratio. All right, Crosshair. Let's do this. All right, Agnes. The randomizer, -2. Cultist, Elder Sign, I'll take that, and a -3. Ugh. All right. Silas Marsh, as we know, he has been struggling with amnesia. Oh, of course, Aragwen, that's great. You do your weekend work. Enjoy, if you can, if there's anything enjoyable about it. If you can't enjoy it, at least enjoy the sounds of my dulcet tones as I scream in pain and shock as the game continues to pummel my fragile psyche. Silas Marsh, as we know, has been struggling with bouts of amnesia. He woke up in a pit that he escaped, kind of. He apparently, and has been regaining some of his memories. He came back to his home in Innsmouth, hired by Thomas Dawson to find one of Thomas Dawson's other agents, Alina Harper. They are investigating some sort of conspiracy in Innsmouth that has to do with the Esoteric Order of Dagon and the creatures that they worship. Just like clambering. You're darn right, Weirdness. I still think that's pretty funny, honestly. So, do I want to say much more than that, just that Elena Harper and Silas Marsh managed to make it in their beat-up old buggy through the winding paths along the coast to the lighthouse. I don't remember what it's called now. Falcon Point Lighthouse, which is where we will begin our scenario. As always, we'll look at the setup and we'll look at what I'm doing and so on. I had some experience. I spent it. You could say he clambert. Yeah, it's really cute. Scenario 6, a light in the fog. Crimson-tinted fog bathes the sky as you reach the gatehouse of Falcon Point. Atop the cliffs above you, the lighthouse beacon pierces through the mist. Considering the state of Innsmouth, you wonder what purpose the signal serves now. You doubt there are any ships out at sea given the inclement weather. Somewhere inside is the evidence you found weeks ago. You suspect that Osiros, I'm going to call him Osiros, that seems right, the man who captured you and left you in that pit to die, also resides within. Are you ready? Agent Harper asks. We have no real escape route here should things go south. Be prepared for anything. You nod. It's too late to turn back now. Steadily, you make your way towards the cliffs. One way or another. This ends today. That doesn't sound good. Yeah, really bad news. Scenario setup. So gather all the blah, blah, blah. We begin play at the Falcon Point Gatehouse. We're setting some keys aside. We're putting some stuff into play, yada, yada, yada. Check the campaign log. If the idol was brought to the lighthouse, no. If the mantle was brought to the lighthouse, no. If the headdress was brought to the lighthouse, no. So these are the artifacts that we maybe could have recovered a memory of in Devil's Reef, but we did not. So that's skip. I'd love it if one of those was, around. Check the campaign log. If the investigators reached Falcon Point after sunrise, we didn't. We reached it before sunrise. If the tide has grown stronger, place a doom on Agenda 1. Neither of those are true, so we love that. The locations are already placed. During the scenario, keys represent the following. Weirdness, I love my keys in this game, so FYI. Okay. The red key is a gilded key made of coral and carved with strange glowing runes. The word Nyahatnle is inscribed upon the handle. Well, that's not good. The blue is a key carved with the symbol of an engorged fish eye. Green is a fist-sized cluster of raw peridot, pulses and glows. Yellow, a heavy iron ring crowded with prison cell keys. Thank you, Aragorn. I appreciate that. Nyahatnle. Purple, the deceased larva of a malformed fish. Yikes. Black key, a map of the depths beneath Devil's Reef. That sounds useful. And white, a pocket telescope. You are now ready to begin. Exactly, Crosshair. I never read that text. I feel like if I played in person with someone who hadn't played before, you read everything really carefully, right? You gotta know what's going on. But then, you are now ready to begin, just means don't bother with the rest of this. Just get into the story, Some of the keys are out, which means they have specific places, and a couple of the keys are face down, which means they're randomized. There's a button to do more setup later, and I think that's it, yeah. Okay. I should point out, as I have pointed out many times, I'm obviously terrified. Silas is quite resilient. He is a survivor, after all, but he has been pummeled by this campaign. He's got a lot of scars, bruises, injuries, and a little bit of mental shock as well. Agenda 1A, Fog on the Bay. A curl of mist wraps the lighthouse in an otherworldly veil. The waves lap at the rocks on the shoreline like hungry, wet tongues. Overhead, the moon gleams unnaturally bright in the sky. You have a curious feeling you are not alone. Locations on the same row, it's horizontally, right, are connected to one another. When this agenda advances, move all doom to the next agenda. Blech. Act 1A, The Lighthouse. All signs point to this lighthouse being a base of operations for the Esoteric Order of Dagon. There's not much left of Innsmouth to investigate, so this is your best chance to find answers. What exactly is the Order up to? You must find out before they realize you're here. What's that sound? Sorry, 2 seconds. I'm just gonna go check on something real quick. Be right back. Doomed has taught me everything, weirdness. Crosshair is correct. Natch. I'm saying that instead of naturally now. No, naturally it was just cats. Max specifically. And Ripley also specifically. Good times. Where was I? What exactly is the Order up to? You must find out before they realize you are here. Objective, spend the requisite number of clues, 3, before the agenda advances. Now, that's not a lot of clues, but that's not really Silas's jam. Silas is a fighter, you know what I mean? Okay. Ooh, I should take this light in the fog token thing over there. So we're starting over here at the Falcon Point Gatehouse. Yeah. What the hell is that thing? Oh my god, it's coming right out of the traffic box. What are those called? Guardhouse. Thick fog obscures your approach as you climb the trail leading to Falcon Point. With any luck, the lighthouse will be abandoned, but luck hasn't been on your side as of late. There's the cliffside, the lighthouse stairwell, which leads up to the lantern room, and to the right, the lighthouse keeper's cottage. Oh, I know. Isn't it so rude, eh? Luck hasn't been on your side. Yeah, I know. So there was something very specific here which is important. Where is it? See suggested, blah, blah, blah. Same row. Where's the thing? It says specifically that the orders of the row don't matter, which I think means that everything in this... Yeah. Locations on the same row are connected to one another. So, theoretically, we could go from the gatehouse straight into the lighthouse stairwell or straight into the lighthouse keeper's cottage or whatever. We can go, and it's weird, but they're not connected horizontally. It's just this whole row is connected. Thank you, Crosshair. All right. 4 damage, 1 horror, 5 resources. I think we're ready to draw our opening hand. We're looking for clues. Let's get doomed. Ooh! Keep faith is blessed tokens. Favor of the sun is new. Horror. Favor of the sun is a pact that Silas can make with the deity of the sun. No, with some sort of otherworldly creature. It's a fast asset. It says seal up to 3 bless on it. So you take bless from the bag. So you have to have put them in the bag first. Reaction, when you would reveal a chaos token, you may exhaust Favor of the Sun to resolve a bless token instead, basically. So Favor of the Sun costs you resources. It comes into play. You put 3 bless from the bag on it. And then basically whenever you would reveal a chaos token, you may instead choose to bless yourself. Which I really like. Now, I don't need 2 copies of Cherished Keepsake. I don't need the Resortful. Well, exactly. Except the Crosshair. Let's not forget that Silas has his Ancient Covenant, which is the covenant that his family made with some sort of elder gods many years ago, which says, exhaust Ancient Covenant, don't reveal another token. Ah, so sneaky. Isn't that it's kind of cheap, eh? I'm not mad because it still takes resources and stuff. Brute Force and Sharp Vision. Those are cards I like to see. Also because they're all fast, like it's all going to happen really, really, really quick. Let's have a look at the Falcon Point Gatehouse. Oh, action resign. You head back into the woods, leaving the lighthouse and its mysteries behind. If you control the black or red keys, place each one you control on the current act. We don't know if we're looking for keys, we're just looking for clues. I do think it's not a bad... Well, alright, see y'all later. Okay, before I do anything else, I do think it's important. Silas has his talisman, which is the protective talisman that he got, right, during that stopover in India all those years ago. Sort of supposed to keep, like, sirens and creatures of the sea away. Make sure that he has it tightly in his grasp as Agent Alina Harper goes off on her own adventure. Now let's just spend a bunch of resources. No one controls the black keys. Hi, Methodio. Welcome to Doomed, where we do solo playthroughs of Arkham Horror, the card game, with a focus on roleplay and storytelling, and sometimes even a focus on music buns. Or band name puns or whatever. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad to resign? I'm not sure what I was going to say, Crosshair. That's okay. Let's do it. Silas is standing at the gatehouse, looking up towards this lighthouse, which stands sentinel above him, looking not inhabited per se, but haunted, perhaps. Off to the side, there's a cottage where the lighthouse keeper theoretically would live, although it certainly doesn't look lived in. And then there are the cliffs as well, off to the side. I think before I do anything else, I'm going to quickly go Keep Faith, Favor of the Sun. They're both fast. They cost 4 resources altogether. 4 Bless go in the bag, and then 3 go on... no, actually, I'm not going to do it that way. And then 3 go on Favor of the Sun. Boom. Like that. Done. Silas is going to say a little prayer, as he has done before, and I think he realizes that his faith, it's not keeping him particularly, wealthy or, successful, but it is keeping him alive. And he realizes that he has entered into something that he cannot even begin to comprehend, and that's where we're at. Now, if I were looking for clues as to the esoteric order of Dagon, I wouldn't go to the cliffside. The sharp cliffside juts over the Innsmouth coast. Dark waves crash against the jagged rocks. A fall from here would certainly be deadly. I might go into the lighthouse. The heavy door leading into the lighthouse is already ajar. Somebody's been here recently. Or I might go into the cottage, the cottage, if you will, being sure to check for time bombs. The cottage next to the lighthouse is in shambles. It's a wonder the door hasn't already fallen off its hinges. Beyond, the building's interior smells of mold and fish. Delicious. I think we go to the cottage to start. So second action, Silas is going to move stealthily across the rain-beaten landscape and into the cottage. Mold and fish, best chippy shop in England. The lighthouse keeper's cottage cannot be fully flooded. Ugh, that is horrible. After it is revealed, place the set-aside yellow key on it. The yellow key, I believe, was a bunch of old rusted keys. Makes sense. 4 shroud, 2 clues, and victory 1. This is great. This is 2 of the clues I need. Now, the question is, can we just straight get these clues? Yeah. Right away. Oh, is this the best use of Favor of the Sun? I think it is. Silas has said his little prayer, and he begins immediately to investigate the cottage for signs of life, for signs of, some sort of hidden trap door, for any sense that this cottage is still lived in. I'll point out the art has some, pentagrams on the walls and stuff. So, last action, it's kind of boring, because I'm just going to do it. I'm going to investigate. 2 to 4. I'm going to play Sharp Vision, which makes me 5 to 4, and then I'm going to play Favor of the Sun and not draw another token. So I'm going to get both of these clues and get this key. I think in this sense, Silas doesn't so much as look around as immediately stumble upon, hanging by the door, a set of rusted old keys. Let's actually look at the description. He cheats. Cheat Fate is totally legit, Crosshair. I don't have this forever. A heavy iron ring crowded with prison cell keys. Silas is no key master, but he does recognize the fact that the keys on this ring do not belong to rooms in a cottage or a lighthouse. They belong to cells. They are keys for heavy, padlocked doors. Why, he wonders to himself. We go enemy, we go upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource, nautical prowess. I love it. Oh, well, so we're not going to count Agnes's predictions for a while yet, Crosshair, don't worry. Well, not for a while, just Mythos phase. 1 doom out of 4. Silas starts to turn around to head back outside. Oh, what the fuck is this? As he steps outside the door, He doesn't come face to face. He notices a figure across the way. He assumes it is Elena until he squints and looks closer. It is the shape of a person, but webbed hands and webbed feet, shimmering, multicolored skin. And the creature seems to be holding a child. This is the Deep One nursemaid. It is aloof, so that's good. While Deep One nursemaid is unengaged, each other Deep One enemy at its location, or connecting locations, get +1 fight and +1 evade. After it engages you, draw the top card of the encounter deck. That card loses Surge. So I will just place it here, unengaged. It's not even a hunter. Mythodial is correct. I dare to try to bring my strategy against the Mythos. We're fucked. This is exactly correct. This is a fish mommy. The creature is watching from a distance, and I'm seeing like a big, wide filmic shot with fog, waves in the background, and like a creature way off in the distance, you know, just kind of holding a child and like watching. Yes, exactly, weirdness. So hopefully this will never come back to haunt me. Okay. Silas watches the creature warily, but hopeful that it won't try to attack him. He remembers, you know, spending time at sea. Most aquatic creatures just want to be left undisturbed. So he decides that this creature hasn't come to see him as a threat yet, so he'd best get back to where the humans are, the lighthouse. So first action, we're going to move into the lighthouse stairwell. The heavy door leading into the lighthouse is already ajar. Somebody has been here recently. It can't be fully flooded. Free trigger, if there are any relic story assets currently set aside, add one of them to your hand. There aren't. So these are the story assets of like the Esoteric Order of Dagon's like relics. Well, but yeah, exactly, Crosshair, come on. No, but there's cheat with luck, and then there's cheat with cheating. I'm not cheating. Silas makes his way inside. He is comfortable. He's never been a lighthouse keeper, but he's certainly seen the interior of many lighthouses before. He looks up and up and up as the rotting stairway, spiraling ever upwards, seems to call to him. 3 shroud, 1 clue. Okay. So that was one action. Second action, I could try to get this clue, and then I could try to move up, and then I could advance like next turn. I don't know what's up here in the lantern room. At the very top of the stairwell, a narrow wooden door warped by rain damage blocks your way to the lantern room atop the lighthouse. But I think it's time to get this clue. The lighthouse stairwell. 3 shroud, 1 clue. I'm going to investigate and play nautical prowess. Yes. Boom, Crosshair. There's tactical cheating, where you go, hang on, these cards work well together. Then there's luck cheating, where you're the Crosshair. And then there's cheaty cheating, where we don't like you at the table. I don't know. I just think, like, if you're going to cheat at a game, like, that's fine. I've definitely played Arkham on my own and been like, a tentacle here, huh? And then once per game, I'm like, throw it back. I don't do that on Doomed, because that's not the best story. We're going to investigate this location. Silas, like I mentioned, has been in, many lighthouses before as a sailor, kind of bringing supplies from ships to various lighthouses along the various trips he's been on, and I think he would know his way around within them. Nautical prowess adds an intellect and a wild icon, and it has another effect as well, so I'm investigating it 4 to 3. A 0. Well. If a token with a negative modifier is revealed, it wasn't. But I still need it to pass, so I won't take it back to hand. We'll get this clue. Fun first. Boom. Okay. So we've got the 3 clues that we need to advance. We're supposed to advance before the agenda does, so I wonder if I do that now or if I go up to the top of this lantern room first, just to see what's up there. I'll have one action left. No, I think I'm going to go, and then next turn I'll spend the clues. Just because the lantern room might be interesting, right? Silas is going to venture up. As he discovers the base of the stairwell does indeed house sort of a small, cramped quarters where the lighthouse keeper could take a break, essentially, after lighting the lamp. Advance when you can do something after. Yeah, that's what I mean, is like I want to have my full turn of actions. Lantern room cannot be flooded. Forced. After it is revealed, place the set-aside white key on it. This is a 2-shroud, 2-clue location. So this is good, right? It's got victory 1. I don't know how I'm going to get these clues, but that's a story for another Archimede. The white key represents a pocket telescope. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Maybe I want that. Maybe I want that pocket telescope. Okay, but that's the end of my turn. Silas comes up to the top of the room at the top of the lighthouse, looking out into the fog. It's really hard to see anything, and frankly, the light isn't probably doing much for anyone out there anyway. Shakes his head, and he's still keeping things quiet, knowing that there may be someone around in the lighthouse. Enemy phase, no enemies that hunt. The Deep One nursemaid is here, but is just watching out in the rain. Upkeep draws us a card and gains a resource. Unrelenting. I like it. We go to 2 out of 4 Doom on the agenda. And up here in the lantern room, my encounter card is Totality. Shit. Totality. A terror omen. Totality of what, I wonder? Test Will 3. If you fail, put it into play in your threat area. Forced. After you enter a flooded location, take a horror. At the end of your turn, discard it. Nothing's flooded, so I don't feel bad about this. This, I feel like, is an omen. This, I feel like, is Silas looking out at the waves. Horror! This is Silas looking out at the waves and seeing sort of just the ocean stretching out around him in pretty much every direction from the lighthouse, and realizing that beneath those waves there must be hundreds, thousands of these deep ones, these creatures. If they were able to invade Innsmouth, then how many more of them are there? Might they just take over the whole city? I'm going to test Will 2 to 3. I'm not going to bother putting anything into this. This is a -4. There's over 9,000. There's over 9,000. Correct weirdness. If you fail, move the nearest ready unengaged enemy once towards your location. It loses aloof during this movement. So, the Deep One nursemaid moves towards the lighthouse, and it is still aloof because it loses aloof, but only during the engagement phase, or during that moment. So the creature has now come closer and is now standing just outside the lighthouse. I wonder if I really want this like pocket telescope here. Is this worth it? We go back to the mythos, the investigation phase. How are we doing on tokens, Crosshair? We got a 0. We got a Elder Thing. Okay, so Agnes isn't looking so hot right now. I'll take that Elder Sign, though. Let's investigate. I want to get these clues. Oh, I wanted to advance first. Is that a good idea? Yeah, I'm doing it. I do agree with that weirdness, so I'm going to stay up here, but I'm going to advance the act, because the act says, well, okay, spend the requisite number of clues. So we're investigating the lighthouse here. Act 1B, eavesdropping on the enemy. As you tiptoe through the old time-worn structure, you hear muffled conversation from within the small cottage attached to the lighthouse. We were already in there, but then coming up, now going upstairs, we can hear it echoing up through the structure. You press your ear upon a nearby wall and stand perfectly still, heart racing. Find them. A deep, croaking voice orders. Do not let them reach the grotto. The Order's secrets must be preserved. Yes, Osiris. A few quiet voices reply in unison. You wait until the sound of footsteps has faded before you resume your investigation. It looks like your hunch was right. Osiris is here! Spawn the set-aside Silas Marsh. I think I said Osiris. Spawn the Silas Marsh enemy in the lighthouse keeper's cottage. Exhausted. Place the set-aside blue key on him. Love a good key. We're going to see what that man does shortly. Man, quote-unquote. Shuffle each set-aside copy of Worth His Salt into the encounter deck. I'm not going to look at what they do. I'm just going to shuffle them in. That doesn't sound good. Put the set-aside lighthouse basement location into play directly below the lighthouse stairwell. And it would be connected downwards, right? Because it's a basement. The door leading into the basement of the lighthouse is locked tight. You cannot enter this location unless you control the blue key. Okay. Advance the agenda directly to Agenda 2A. Do not resolve Agenda 1B. We keep the doom on it because Agenda 1A says move all doom to the next agenda. So let's look at these now. Agenda 2A. Unchanging as the sea. The Order knows you're here. You have little time to spare. You have to find the way into their lair before they mobilize to capture you. Locations on the same row are connected. Forced, when an investigator is captured, advance this agenda. Advance the agenda directly to Agenda 2A. Do not resolve Agenda 1B. So I think it is... I have a feeling the back of this agenda is like, if you reached 4 doom, something bad happens. But I don't know. Forced, when an investigator is captured... Advance this agenda, and then it has the same text as well. The doom carries on, which is not good. Okay. Act 2A, Finding the Path. Falcon Point contains many secrets the Order does not wish you to know. Perhaps dealing with Osiris will open the way. Objective, if an investigator enters lighthouse basement before the agenda advances... Advance, so many advance words. I do agree with that weirdness. It feels like it's just watching, though, which I'm not keen on. So I have to enter the lighthouse basement. I cannot enter the lighthouse basement unless I receive the blue key. The blue key is currently... Well, what is it? The blue key is a key carved with the symbol of an engorged fish eye. Ugh. It's currently on Silas Marsh. Let's have a look at Mr. Silas Marsh, the keeper of the lighthouse. Probably distantly, maybe not distantly, related to Silas. He is a humanoid Deep 1 hybrid elite. 4 combat, 6 health, 2 evade, hunter, retaliate. 1 damage, 1 horror. He gets +2 evade while his location is flooded. Forced, after he is successfully evaded, for each point you succeeded by, take control of a key on him. Forced. After Silas Marsh attacks you during the enemy phase, you are captured. Place each of your keys on Silas Marsh. Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Crosshair. Deep 1 Nursemaid says, while it's unengaged, each other Deep 1 at its location or connecting locations gets +1 fight and +1 evade. Bad news bears. Can I evade an exhausted enemy? Yes, but I would have to engage it and evade it. I'm not going to do that. 4 fight, 6 health, 2 evade. AKA 5, 6, 3, which is a little much. Captures you on hit. And the Deep 1 Nursemaid also says something if it engages you, but it doesn't yet. Okay. So, we know what we need to do. We have to deal with Silas Marsh. I have the ability to do, like, 3 damage, but not 6 damage. He's currently exhausted. I wonder if I just deal with the lantern room to start, because I still want this pocket telescope thing. I could weirdness. Aloof means I'd have to engage it, so I have to essentially spend an action like getting up to it and like engaging it in a fight. 3 combat, 2 health, not bad. After it engages you, draw the top card of the encounter deck. Blurk. Blurk. Horrible. That's bad. Maybe I don't care. Maybe I just... Because here's my thought. Oh, Osiris has victory too, I should have mentioned. I would... Oh, that would be really good. If I had a weapon... I could perhaps deal with the Deep One Nursemaid. Then I could go and start, hacking away at Osiris. So maybe I want to just try to get these clues first. Because I have the ability to sort of like, not auto-succeed, but like do well on a test. Say a brute force test. I think Silas, he knows he's being hunted. So one option would be move down, move to the cottage. Wait. Osiris engages me in upkeep, and then I try to evade him on my turn, grab the key. Because once he's evaded, I can take control of the key, right? I can like evade him, grab the key, and then run back and down into the basement. That's one pretty strong possibility. I wouldn't mind him moving into the stairwell, because then I could like go down, grab the key, and keep going. Ideally, I'd fight him, but 5 fight because of the nursemaid is pretty tough. Decisions. I don't need to rush this, I don't think. The white key feels like it's going to be useful, this pocket telescope. As Weirdness mentioned, the idea of like spying on... I mean, Silas would know the value of, intelligence. I was going to say the value of like having a spyglass. So I kind of want to try to get these clues. I'm going to do this. I'm going to investigate my location. I'm 2-2. I'm going to play Unrelenting. And I'm going to seal... Sorry, the Singer seal. A +1, a 0, and a 0, which means I'm probably going to fail. But this way I draw 2 cards. See? Now I have a meat cleaver. This is good news. Not like the best news, but like it's good news, And we're going to investigate 3-2. I think Silas, as we have mentioned many times before, is indeed... Well, I mean, I want to use the word unrelenting, but Silas is not prepared to call off this investigation. If someone is trying to protect something this badly, there must be a secret at the heart of it. And while he isn't someone who normally seeks out secrets, Silas Marsh is someone who needs to know what his family's connection to this place is. Let's go 3-2. Too bad. Oh! I could pass with lucky. Maybe I should. After this is revealed, I could return it to hand and then still pass with lucky. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to return Unrelenting to hand and pass with lucky to get one of these clues. This gives me Unrelenting a second time, which is great news. Am I just going to do it again? I'm just going to do it again. Second action, we're just going to do it again. So I pull the same 3 tokens out and draw 2 cards. Hey, Crosshair, look, it's our favorite card. Perseverance. Calloused hands and a determined heart were all that she needed. And I have a Test of Will, which cancels a revelation effect, which is really, really good, probably useful. We're going to investigate again, same situation. I'm testing at 3-2, which is like much less strong, but, Skull? -1. If your location is flooded, reveal an additional token. It isn't. So we succeed. I'll take the last clue. I'll put these guys back in here. It's just a nice, casual start to the scenario, you know? Okay. Strong start. I'd love to put Meat Cleaver down, but I now lack the resources to do so. So last action, we have the pocket telescope as well. Silas up here is kind of, again, he's really looking through all the nooks and crannies and all the drawers up here in the lantern room, and he comes across an old spyglass. Something that's like easy enough to carry with him in his sash, basically, in his belt. And he feels like may indeed come in handy. So we're going to throw the pocket telescope in our pocket, because it's a pocket telescope, you understand? And then I'm going to, last action, move down to Lighthouse Stairwell. Now, out the door, there is indeed that same creature that seems to have not moved, and yet it is now here, looking into the lighthouse, soothing its strange fish-human child. It's still aloof, so no big. And at the end of my turn, I'm discarding Totality, which I'm absolutely fine with. Enemy phase, no enemies that are hunters. Osiros is going to ready during the upkeep phase here. Quick thinking. And I still have my Favor of the Sun, which is great news. That's really good, because I can use it to sort of make sure that quick thinking goes off, which is nice. And 3 resources. We go to 3 out of now 7 Doom, unchanging as the sea. Silas eyes the Lightkeeper's cottage, where he can now see a man-shaped figure moving about behind the ratty curtains. Yeah, I think so, Crosshair. We draw an encounter card. Rising Tides. Increase the flood level of the nearest location that can have its flood level increased. Is that here? Yes. It can't be fully flooded, but it can still be partially flooded, so I'll do that. The Rising Tides. The water, incredibly, Silas can look out behind the creature, and despite the fact that the lighthouse is indeed on a cliff face, he can see that the water has somehow started to seep its way around the base of the cliff. Further back, where they drove up to Falcon Point, is now almost completely submerged. Investigation phase. Okay, we need the key. I feel like I want to put down Meat Cleaver. I just want to have, guys, I just want to have it. Second action, we're going to move from here into the Lightkeeper's cottage. Silas tries to sneak back in, but there's a howl from the creature at the door. What do you think you're doing here, lad? When your lighthouse is flooding, but nowhere else. Woo. That's actually quite creepy weirdness. Like, jokes aside, that would be quite creepy. Osiros, the man in the yellow slicker, Silas is happy to see another human form until the creature turns. It was once human, but after this many years of living in Innsmouth on the coast near these deep ones, the creature has morphed beyond recognition. As you can see here on the art, sharp fanged teeth explode out of a cavernous maw. His hands, no longer hands, but more flippers with claws. One of them grasps an old, rusty spear of some kind. We gotta evade him to grab the green key. Yeah, that's just how it's gonna be. I could try to fight it, but he's 5 strength, which just feels like kind of nasty. I should though. I also don't have enough actions. So I could... Yeah, agreed, weirdness. I could evade and then try to give him a good punch, and then next turn kind of struggle with him for a while, and hopefully the odds are in my favor. I could even potentially kind of do all that, like have a big power turn here. I think if I take out Silas Marsh, this is good. This is a really good thing, right? We don't want him hunting us throughout the lighthouse or whatever's down there. in the basement stairwell. So I put down the meat cleaver and I moved. So last action has to be to evade. I have 4 evade. I'm gonna play quick thinking. If I succeed by 2 or more, I may immediately take another action. 5 to 2. I kind of need it to go, so I'm gonna perhaps foolishly Ancient Covenant Favor of the Sun. Feels kind of bad. So that we don't reveal a token, instead we reveal a Bless, which allows me to pass by 2 or more, which gets me my action back. He's now evaded by quite a lot, so I get the blue key. And then I still have an action this turn, which I could use to move away, or I could start trying to attack him. Silas, confronted with this beast, which is now bellowing at the top of its lungs, trying to jab him with this rusted spear point. Silas is surprisingly nimble for a man of his age, build, and leg injury. He ducks under the flashes of the rusted spear, striking out at the creature, and manages to snag a key off of its belt as he runs through the cottage, hoping to set up an attack. Venturing into the cottage, he finds in the kitchen a large blade stuck into a block of wood. He manages to yank it out and whirls to confront the creature. I have an action left. I'm going to use it to... Yes, I am going to use it to Meat Cleaver. So I'm going to take a horror, which means I now have +2 combat. 6 to 5. Oh! Because he has 5 fight because of the Deep One Nursemaid. If I didn't do that, I could brute force, which would put me at 7 to 5, but I have to be successful by 2 or more, so I don't know. 6 to 5? Oh, no, hang on, this is really foolish. Are we gonna try to kill this guy when the Deep One thing is just, like, there? It's like a lot. I'm gonna get stuck here forever, right? Evade, try to attack, fail a couple times. I have to take a horror each time to use the 2 damage thing on Meat Cleaver. I can Favor of the Sun a big brute force hit. Because I just feel like I just know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna pull a not -1 token. I need more icons, I think. Because the other option is just grab the key and run. I don't know what I'm gonna try to do down in the basement, but I might reach a point where I'm more in control. Yeah, so while brute force is committed during a basic fight action, it gains 2 combat icons and the text. If this test is successful by 2 or more, it deals +2 damage. So it does 3, which is great for a single fight action. It has to be successful by 2 or more, which means I probably want to use the bless token on it. Now that is a free, and then I just need 1. Yeah, and Cleaver would do 2. So I just need 1 hit left. Yeah, which I don't need to take horror for. It's a good point. All right, guys, we got to go for it. You're right. So I took the horror. Whirling around, the creature has made its way back into the cottage. Silas has the drop on him. Are we going to manage this? Let's find out. 6 to 5. Chef's kiss. The blade, oh, that's delicious. The blade buries itself in the back of the old sailor, who roars in defiance. It is not... thank you, Crosshair, exactly. Again, roaring and screaming as it tries to find purchase on the slick cottage floor. Enemy phase. No enemies that do anything. Upkeep phase. We draw a card, we gain a resource. We also ready Silas Marsh, who of course engages us immediately. Ooh, which is not good. What did I get? Bandages! My favorite strange item. I mean, they're very, very useful. I'm going to have to play those at some point. Mythos phase. Silas is now struggling with a large half fish, half human hybrid. The man who used to be known as Silas Marsh, now some sort of twisted cultist of the esoteric order of Dagon, while more deep ones watch from outside. Let's draw an encounter card. Yeah, that's bad. So this is another deep one nursemaid. It is still aloof, but of course these effects would stack. While Deep 1 Nursemaid is unengaged, each other Deep 1 enemy at its location or connecting location gets +1 fight, +1 evade. Okay. I don't like that one bit. I still think we're okay. The first action is to brute force this beast. So we're fighting it. I have 4 combat. Oh, actually, no, it won't quite work, will it? Oh, yes, it will. Yes, it will. It has 6 combat. I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with the blessed token. Nursemaid's gonna be a big problem, weirdness. Now, they don't hunt yet, but they might do something. Silas manages to dig the blade out of the creature's back as he smashes it across the face with a powerful blow from his fist. He ends up smashing the creature's head into the wall, into a picture frame, glass shattering everywhere, collapses to the floor, where it starts to try to rise onto its hands and knees. That was 3 damage. Now here's the interesting part, because now we're into our second and third actions. Favor of the Sun goes away, because it's out of things. So, Silas Marsh has 1 health left. He has 6 combat and 4 evade. He also has retaliate, so if I fail to hit him, he will hit me. Not so bueno. So we might want to try evading him first, although, as we know how that's going to go, 4 to 4 is not so bueno either. Meat Cleaver says you get +1 combat for this attack, +2 if you have 3 or fewer remaining sanity. No, you can't, Crosshair. That is something I should say. It specifically refers to a basic fight action, which is not on an item, unfortunately. That would have been absolutely badass. I would be super here for that, unfortunately. I wish. Which is like kind of why Meat Cleaver's not like a great weapon in and of itself. It relies on you being able to, like, you know, take a bunch of horror and stuff, but like, okay. Oh, sorry. So we're just going to evaluate our odds here. Meat Cleaver gives you additional combat if you have less sanity. So now that Silas is seeing this creature in front of him, he has gone a little frenzied. He's going to be able to do more strikes. If this attack defeats an enemy, you may heal a horror. As an additional cost to initiate the ability, you may take a horror to have it deal +1 damage, which is not necessary, thankfully. But here's the thing. I would be fighting 6 to 6. I would be evading 4 to 4. If he attacks me during the enemy phase, I am captured. And he gets all my keys. He also has retaliate, 1 damage and 1 horror. So now we're in this horrible position where I have to decide, do I try to evade him to avoid getting captured? Or do I try to hit him and potentially get hit in exchange? Really bad news all around, frankly. I'm evens on both tests. 6 to 6 or 4 to 4. He's being buffed by the deep ones, the nursemaids, who I guess are like, "Go, my son, you are the strongest one of our kind." If we draw an elder sign, that would be very good. The downside is kind of devastating. Retaliate only applies to combat. There's a separate keyword, alert, for failed evasions. So he doesn't have that. But I do agree. A hit would... A very palpable hit. It would kill him. And that would be quite nice. And I can... I was going to say I can afford it. I can't really afford it. But, like, we can try. Okay. The other thing here is if his location becomes more fully flooded, things are going to get really bad. I think we have to just pray to the gods, right? I shouldn't have used all those blessed tokens. Silly, silly me. Alright, well, wish me some goddamn luck, folks. Well, Perseverance will help later. The creature is raising onto its hands and knees. It is strong. It is powerful. But Silas has the advantage for the briefest of moments. We're going to attempt 6 to 6. Yeah, I mean, me too. I don't like it. 6 to 6. Meat cleaver. It's a disaster. Thanks, Crosshair. I'll take a damage and a horror. I'll put the damage on me. The horror goes on the keepsake. Last action. I guess I have to try to evade here. Which is also evens, but I don't know what being captured does. It doesn't feel good, because then he gets all of these keys that I worked so hard for. What does it do? Could I survive another hit and then another hit in enemy phase? Yeah. Yeah, you could survive. It's not looking good, though. Yep. Hit or evade failure is same. Win is same. Whoa. Hit failure is slightly worse because I think I take 2 attacks instead of 1. But still, I do want to just kind of get rid of him, right? Do we trust this? The meat cleaver? The creature catches the blade on the floor as Silas tries desperately. He's going to try to kick the creature's arm out from under him as he tries to get one more hit in. Send me some of that luck, folks. 6 to 6. Disaster. The creature rips the talisman from around Silas's neck. In the enemy phase, we take another damage and another horror, and we are captured. Now, of course, this is... He still has 5 damage on him. After Silas Marsh attacks you during the enemy phase, you are captured. Place each of your keys on him, and then there's special text here. I don't know what it does, so we're going to find out. We may just end up keeping all the keys kind of in the same... I don't know what's going to happen. The creature... Stop ruining our fun! The creature... This is the part of the horror movie where the bad guy gets the main character, right? He reaches up and smashes... Silas's head once, twice, 3 times against the counter behind him, and he starts to fade. When an investigator is captured, advance this agenda. The first time an investigator is captured, read the following. I don't know which happens for... I think forced. I'm going to advance the agenda first, because I don't know what's going to happen. Agenda 2B, seized by the Deep Ones. Suddenly you are ambushed by more of the repulsive hybrid creatures than you can possibly fend off. Cold, scaled hands grab your arms and pin them behind your back. The next thing you know, a sack is thrown over your head, obscuring your vision. You struggle in vain against your captors, but you are outnumbered and outmatched. Take them below, the croaking voice commands. They must learn their consequences of they must learn the consequences of trespassing on sacred ground. Each investigator is captured. Place each of their keys on holding cells. Osiros specifically says, after he attacks you during the enemy phase, you are captured. Place each of your keys on Silas Marsh. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to... Oh, there we go. Methodiel says, thank you, Methodiel. If Silas Marsh is in play, set him aside out of play. Shuffle each copy, a set-aside copy of Taken Captive into the encounter deck. So, kind of excitingly, the keys do not end up on Silas Marsh. They end up on some other location that we're about to find out. And he goes out of play. Poof, disappears. Reveal the lighthouse basement. The lighthouse basement is a Yes, it's called the Sunken Grotto, the upper depths on the other side. Well, that's certainly not a cellar. It's a 2-shroud, 0-clue location. It says free trigger. Investigators at this location spend a clue. Look at the revealed side of a tidal tunnel location on this row. So you can use information you've discovered to figure out where you need to go, I guess. Put Sunken Grotto lower depths into play and Sunken Grotto final depths into play. Then put random set-aside tidal tunnel locations into play until there are at least 4 locations on each row, except the row with the lantern room. Advance directly to Act 3A. I will do that. However, I think there's a button here. Place Sunken Grotto and tidal tunnel locations. Did it work? Huzzah! Holy crap! So, right? This is essentially what it looks like. The Sunken Grotto ventures down into more Sunken Grotto, which ventures down into the Sunken Grotto, which is connected to a whole row of tidal tunnels. The rows are all connected to, the locations are all connected to each other directly. Okay. Holding cells. I don't know where that is, but I guess we're gonna... I guess we should read the... Captured. Captured! You are bound and dragged deep underground, then thrown into a sealed prison cell, surrounded on all sides by dripping stone walls. Your cries fall on deaf ears as your captor's footsteps fade into the distance. Remove the capture investigator from their location. Return each asset in their hands to their hand. Oh! Okay, meat cleaver comes back to hand. At least it didn't get discarded, so there's that. Turn that investigator's mini card sideways to indicate that they have been captured. They cannot move, fight, or be engaged. Flip this story card over to its holding cell's side. Put it into play. It is not on any existing row or column, and it is only connected to Sunken Grotto through its connection icons. Place the captured investigator in the holding cells. From now on, whenever anyone is captured, resolve the same effect. So holding cells, I'm going to put it way the heck up there. And we're going to do that. I need to take a quick break to figure out what the heck is going on. I hope you all join me for the next act. Can Silas Marsh get out of prison with all of his brutal injuries? And will he find out the secrets of the Sunken Grotto? Back in a sec. Ooh, no music. Spooksville. There we go. Put some music back on there. Let's review, shall we? Silas Marsh arrived at Falcon Point Lighthouse, went through the keeper's cottage, found a ring of keys to cells, found some creatures, found a spyglass, managed to steal the keys off of Silas Marsh, the baddie, and then ended up getting knocked out in a fight against that horrific beast man lighthouse keeper. Okay, just to review, we're advancing directly to Act 3A. I'm just making sure I understand what's going on here, right? Everything's been done. Silas Marsh is in play. He's been set aside, so each of the keys do go on the holding cells. I have to assume. I don't know why they'd like throw everything in there with you, including what might be prison keys. We're gonna see though. Holding cells is a 3-shroud, 1-clue location. It can't be flooded. Enemies cannot enter or spawn at holding cells. If one would spawn it here, spawn it at any Sunken Grotto instead. Combat. Action. Test Combat 3 to break the bars, or Agility 3 to pick the locks. If you control the yellow key, this test automatically succeeds. If you succeed, free an investigator who is captured here. So what I like to think is that, so these keys are on this location, but there's a clue on the location as well. So Silas needs to find a way to get the keys that are just out of reach, and then once he can unlock the cell and get the hell out of there. Act 3A, we have to read still. Worshippers of the Deep. Deep below the lighthouse is a web of tunnels filled with information pertaining to the Order's activities. You must learn what you can before escaping. Forced. At the end of the investigation phase, each investigator at a fully flooded location must either take 3 damage or move to the location directly below their location. The water forces you down, down, down into the depths. Objective. If each undefeated investigator has resigned, advance. Hint. You may wish to find what you came for before you leave this place. The black and red keys represent the objects you need most. The black and red keys. Okay, well, I definitely have to get out of here. This is the key. This is the most important thing. So I think that was all during the enemy phase, right? Yeah. We go to upkeep. I'm just going to make sure I understand what's going on here. So the Deep One nursemaids are still up here. Silas is trapped in the holding cells. Yeah, I do want to guarantee it. It's connected to brown squiggle, red square, and green diamond. So the holding cells are connected to all 3 of the sunken grotto locations, like the, rungs or whatever. So I think that we're going to try to get out of here, go to the deepest depths, and then start, just basically going along the tidal tunnels and see what we can find. I don't know what we're going to find. I'm hoping I stumble upon a location with either a red key or a black key and just zoop, get out of there. Hi, Ripley. Are you here for Eldritch Horror? Oh, God, you're heavy. Oof. Are you here for some... It's very wet here in Innsmouth at the lighthouse, Ripley. Yeah, I know. You don't want to be here at all. Bye-bye. Oof. Gosh. Okay. That's what we need to do. However, it's not my turn. It's upkeep. Ooh, another favor of the sun. Unfortunately, I don't have 3 bless in the bag to add. So I can play it. I would seal a bless on it. Doesn't feel very worth it. We go to the mythos phase. Let's have a quick look. Silas is lying bloodied and bruised on the floor of a jail cell, just waking up. Down, row 2, 1 to the left. Black key will be bottom row, 2 to the left. Crosshair? I'm taking your word on it. See, I love this kind of... I have to say, as a quick aside from the sort of story here, I really like scenarios like this in Devil's Reef that have multiple things that you're trying to find, but where are they? It doesn't... It's all randomized. For those people who are I have to win the scenario, and I know exactly what it means to win the scenario, that sort of thing, that's not always my jam, and that would be very frustrating for this kind of situation where there's now 9 locations that have been completely randomized, and we don't know which is which. But for me, I love it reminds me of those memory puzzles, right? We'll flip this location. Does it match this location? No, they both go face back down. It's very cool. I really like that. Okay. We're back around. It's the mythos phase, which is bad news. We go to oh god, hang on, what? Agenda 3A. I didn't even read this. I'm sorry. Agenda 3A. The tide rises. A wave of cold familiarity washes over you as you see the water level starting to rise throughout the tunnels. The tide is rolling in. If you aren't quick, there won't be much left here to investigate. Luckily, you still have a way out, should the tide rise too quickly. Locations on the same row are connected to one another. We just went to 5 out of 10 Doom. Act 3A I already read. There's bad stuff if you're at a fully flooded location, and I have to resign, and I'm looking for the black and the red keys. Oh yeah, that would be great. I mean, horrible, but great. Did I shuffle the encounter deck? I did now. Draw an encounter card. Taken captive! What the shit? Test agility 4. If you fail, you are captured. Place each of your keys on the holding cells. You are hurled into the dark cell and hear the heart-stopping click of the lock behind you. Well, joke's on you, scheme. I'm already captured. I'm just gonna take this test on the nose. 4 to 4. Oh no, I failed. Throw me back into jail, why don't you? Bam. It's actually pretty funny. So I'll allow it. Oh, I could have used a test of will to avoid that. You know what I actually need? I need clue tools, and I need your friend and mine, Jacob Morrison, the Coast Guard captain. That's who I need. I need to put the bandages down. I need all sorts of stuff. So I can't go anywhere. Nothing can happen to me here in the holding cells. If I can get the key, then if I can get this clue, then I can get this yellow key, which means that I can get out for free. And if you're freed, then you can presumably move directly to one of the sunken grottos. Unfortunately, there's not a heck of a lot I can do. I need, like, resources, Jacob Morrison's. I'd love to put bandages down. That would be nice, so that I don't, like, die. Because here's the other thing. Let's be real. If I get out, I could just run as well, right? Get out, move up, move over to the Falcon Point gatehouse, and just resign. I would love to see if I can get one of the keys that I need. I don't think I'm going to be able to clear this clue without help, so I'm going to draw a card to start. Signum Crucis. Commit only to a skill test you are performing. Only if the difficulty is higher than your base skill value. Add X bless tokens to the bag. X is the difference between the test's difficulty and your base skill values. So this would add a single bless token to the bag, and it would make me evens Stevens. But I could take it back to hand to do it again. More bless, always good. I'd love to use this another time later, but I think, you know, now's the time, right? We're gonna go 3 to 3 with oh, hello, Aragwen. Welcome back to Doomed. Wonderful to have you with us. Silas Marsh almost beat up the baddie, but then got locked in the jail cell. So he's trying to get out right now. We're going to once again say a little prayer, add a blessed token to the bag, and we're going to go for it. 3 to 3. Pass. I'll let it ride. I'll let it ride. We get the clue, which means we also get all the keys. Whee! Which means that I can last action. I'm not going to free myself last action. That would be foolish, right? Because if I free myself last action, I might get thrown back into the pit again. But then I'll have all my keys. But I should play bandages. That's what I should do. No, I should save my resources for perseverance. That makes more sense. Silas manages to fashion sort of a stick and part of his sash into a makeshift, like, crutch, or he manages to fashion it into something that can reach, basically. And through the bars of the holding cell, manages to pick a key off the wall, which indeed opens the cell that he's in. Somewhere on the same desk nearby, the pocket telescope and Silas Marsh's large blue fish key remain. So last action, I am going to free myself. Test combat or agility 3 to pick the locks. If you control the yellow key, it automatically succeeds. I am free. Huzzah! Enemy phase. No enemies that move. Upkeep draws me. Take heart, which I will definitely want at some point. And we go to 6 out of 10 doom. Silas is free once more to explore the massive grotto beneath the lighthouse. What madness are they keeping down here? Syzygy. Now, syzygy, I believe, is a word that means the alignment of celestial bodies. Peril. Revelation. You must decide. Each investigator loses 3 resources, takes 2 horror, or place a doom on the current agenda. I do not want any of those. Yo, am I gonna place a doom on the agenda? No. That's crazy town. No, I'm losing 3 resources. I really want the resources, but I'm hoping to take heart at some point. Doom, death, or broke, baby. Well, I'm not cake or death. Cake, please. Well, I'm not taking death. Am I taking Broke or am I taking Doom? How quickly can I, like, get back out to the Falcon Point Gatehouse? Not that fast. So it's not ideal in the sense that... So my options are... or death? The syzygy here, this is the omen. Through the... There's a crack in the ceiling of the grotto through which is dripping a bit of water, and Silas kind of glances up, and somehow through this minuscule crack, he can see the alignments of the planet in the blood-red sky beyond. Just so bad. I don't... No, I need the resources, so I'm gonna take the Doom. I hate it. I hate it to death. That's, like, the worst. It's fine. It's fine. Investigation phase. Okay, first action. We move out of the cell and into the sunken grotto. Ooh, let's look. 4 shroud. 0 clues. Free trigger investigators spend a clue as a group to look at the revealed side of a tidal tunnel. Ah! Now this is good news. I can look at all 3 of the things in this row before I go there for free. Or basically 3 out of the 9 locations. That's great, so I can decide whether anything down here is worth it. And if it is, good, and if it's not, bad. We're gonna free trigger, we're gonna check the one that Crosshair said here, right? The air is frigid here, there is no sound but the faint blinking of water dropping onto the rough stone ground. You shudder and proceed onward. This is the moon room. The moon room says, if it is unflooded, resign. You don one of the empty diving suits and dive into the reflecting pool. If you control the black or red keys, place them on the act. Forced after it's revealed, increase its flood level. What the F? The moon room allows you to resign by diving out through the bottom. Literally weirdness? I would not be surprised in the slightest. I'm gonna be that guy and be kind of, you know, not necessarily great, but I'm gonna write the moon room, and then I'm gonna write resign. Well. I don't disagree, but it says, if you control the black or red keys, place them on the current act. Now, that's not to say that I wouldn't lose them, but the act... actually, hang on, we'll go look at the other resign option just to see if it's any different. But it feels like acts are good, right? I do agree with weirdness as well. The moon room sounds like a jazzy... Hey, welcome to the moon room. Give it up for our band leader, Keith Moon. Okay. If you control the black or red keys, place each one on the current act. So I think that's the game here. Okay, so that's the moon room. It does sound like a useful place, and I'm glad I know what it is. Let's look at this tidal tunnel. The Deep One Nursery. Oh my god, what the fuck is this? If you control the purple key, compare the purple key to the oversized eggs littering the flooded chamber and recall something. Read flashback 13. Forced after Deep One Nursery is revealed, increase its flood level. Okay, so that, I'm gonna make a note. I've looked at them, so I do not feel bad in the... What is going on? Why is it doing this? Purple key. I don't know why it's doing that. Sorry, team. I'm just making notes so that I know where to go. Last free trigger. I'm gonna spend my last clue and look at this one, because why not? This is a tidal pool. Tidal pool gets +1 shroud while it is partially flooded, and +2 shroud while it is fully flooded. After it is revealed, choose one set aside face down key and place it on tidal pool. Now, face down keys. So this location on the right here, I think Silas is essentially using the crudely drawn kind of sketches he's found and his own sort of nautical prowess to sort of divine what might be down here, right? What might be on the lowest level of a grotto or a cave like this. So this tidal pool, 3 shroud, 1 clue, choose one of the set-aside face-down keys. Now, I need to know what those are. The face-down keys are specifically not the black or red keys. The face-down keys are green and purple. So it might be the purple key. Purple key is interesting for a flashback, but okay, basically, I'm gonna also write here. Whoa, what have I done? Sorry. Green, purple key. Ugh, God, it's horrible. Oh, it doesn't look like that to you guys. Oh, it only does that when I zoom in. Well, that's interesting. Sorry, the end of the word green gets cut off when I zoom in. It's the texture on the map. I've been at sea a long time. I know keys hang out at the lowest grottos. If you have your keys, you always hang them up furthest from your coat, so that if you're lost at sea, your keys are not lost in your coat. Okay, well, anyway, I don't want to go to either of those places. So second action, we're going to go up to the sunken grotto, the lower depths. Rickety wooden stairways cut through the crust of the cliffside, leading deeper underground. It's got the same free trigger, but I don't have any clues left. So now is the time to just go and check one of them out. Good luck. Can have fun, you weirdos. This is going to go very badly. I think it's just time to get in there, right? Or do I put down a meat cleaver? This is an interesting choice, actually. If I put down a meat cleaver, I won't have resources for perseverance. Or a test of will, which actually would probably save me here. So we're not going to do that. We're going to continue. Silas is moving in. Crosshair? Red key, right? Silas heads up towards the surface, but his attention is caught by something off through the tunnels here in the lower depths. The other tidal pool. 3 shroud, 1 clue. Put one of the set-aside face-down keys at it. So the face-down keys are either green or purple. I do not know which is which. This is where we are. This is where we get to stay. Enemy phase. No enemies that hunt. Upkeep phase. We draw a card. We gain a resource. It's the other brute force. Super useful, I would argue. We go to 8 out of 10 doom. Arrgh, how did that happen? And we draw an encounter card. Here in the tidal pool, Silas stares into the depths. Ah. Looking back at him is a haggard face. His own, he realizes. And yet there is something about his own eyes that causes him to realize this is not... this is... What am I trying to say here? The eyes looking back at him tell him that it is no longer his own face. There is something about the town of Innsmouth that has taken him over. The Innsmouth look stares back at him. Frozen in fear. P.S. Low-key one of the worst treacheries from the core. Straight up. It's in the core set. Put Frozen in fear into play in your threat area. The first time you perform one of the following actions each round, it costs 1 additional action. Move, fight, or evade, because you are frozen in fear. Forced at the end of your turn, test will 3. If you succeed, discard frozen in fear. No. No. No, absolutely not. I am not going to be frozen in fear. I'm going to spend a resource to play a test of will. Cancel that card's revelation effect. Exile a test of will. Whatever. I don't give up. So, it doesn't go in my threat area. What's up? A test of will is Silas realizing in that very brief moment that he only has so long down here in the grotto, and he cannot afford to take even the 100% crosshair. I just saved myself. Well, I saved myself an action and probably more. So I'm absolutely okay with this. We'll go back to the investigation phase. I think we're gonna I just want to, like... I'd love the key, but I kind of want the resources so I can, like, put down some stuff. So I'm going to... Oh, God. I'm going to probably regret this. I'm going to investigate with a take heart. So I'm 2 to 3 at this point. We're going to investigate the tidal pool because, obviously, having been frozen in fear for just a brief moment, Silas is wary of looking back in, but there was something glimmering at the bottom of the pool. 2 intellect to 3 shroud. -2 is a fail, so I'll let Take Heart fire. Take Heart gets me 2 cards and 2 resources. Delicious. Now we're cooking. Resourceful can pull back like a Sharp Vision or a Keep Faith. Or a Lucky. Oh, so many good targets. Sorry, I know you can't see under my face up here, but there's a lot of things that I can pull back. Do I care about this key? It'd be nice to see this, like, purple... Well, a clue is good, too, because then I can use it to sort of see exactly Crosshair. So, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. You know, at some point. Or maybe, no, right now. If I commit Resourceful and Unexpected Courage to this test, I'll be 2 up. Which I would love to pass. And I hope I do. Is it good enough? It's honestly not good enough, but I don't think there's much else I can do. One more clue is also useful because it gives me a possible hit of the, like, hey, check one of the things along this row, which seems nice. Silas ventures out into the darkness of the caves around him. We're going to see what we can find here in the tidal pool. I have 2 intellect, 3, 4 with Unexpected Courage, 5 with Resourceful, 5 to 3. Damn it. I'm going to pull one of these things back to hand. I'm going to pull Resourceful back to hand. Not as good. Not as strong. It's okay. Last action. We're going to move. I need to check these other two. Son of a bucket! You darn skippy, Aragwen. I'm going to move to this tidal tunnel here on the left, because who knows what's here? Oh, no! Oh, no! It's an underwater cavern! Underwater cavern becomes fully flooded. Oh, that's actually quite bad. Because, well, it does have a move action. I'm out of actions. Silas heads off to the west of the tidal pool and... He takes one wrong step and his footing disappears out from under him and he starts to fall, splash, into a fully flooded cavern. At the end of the investigation phase, each investigator at a fully flooded location must either take 3 damage or move to the location directly below theirs. Well, I don't want to take 3 damage. Weirdness, I don't disagree with that. The campaign is structured, I think, in such a way that I think it's really cool. It starts... You start with more bad stuff tokens in the bag, but the first scenario is meant to be really tough. But you have the opportunity, if you do well, of clearing out bad stuff tokens as you go. So instead of going, oh, the campaign's getting harder, you have more XP, here's some more bad stuff. Instead, it's the other way around. It's like, okay, here's a challenge, but if you do well, you can tread water a little bit. You're not wrong, Crosshair. Because then I could decide to just resign next turn if I really need to, right? I don't have what I came for, but... Ooh, actually, I can't, but I'll tell you why. I think it's important that I do that, though, so I am going to move to the location below me. The Moon Room starts... Here, I'll read the Moon Room. The Moon Room says, if the Moon Room is unflooded, action, resign. You don one of the empty diving suits and dive into the reflecting pool. If you control either of the keys that you want, apparently, put them on the act. Fine. Forced, after the Moon Room is revealed, increase its flood level. That tells me there must be a way to get rid of the flood level here. How do we do it? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Well, we just have to spend a whole bunch of actions now, I guess, moving. Upkeep draws me a card and gains me a resource. Eureka. I like that. We go to 9 out of 10 Doom on this agenda. Exactly weirdness. And we draw an encounter card. Oh my god! Oh, look how cute it is! As Silas falls through the floor, he slips and ends up inside a room, slowly filling with water. Diving suits line the walls, and a strange moon pool seems to take up the majority of the space. A tiny little... kind of surprises him. Deep One Hatchling has Surge on it, which is just mean. Forced. After you engage Deep One Hatchling, you must either lose an action or it attacks you. Well, I can't lose a horror. I can't take a horror, so I will lose an action. After you defeat Deep One Hatchling, move the nearest ready unengaged Deep One enemy towards your location. These are little bebes. And if you kill it, your mama will come for you. Slowerly. Very good. Very good, weirdness. It has Surge, though, so I also have to take Tidal Alignment. Choose a location where there is at least one investigator. Fuck. Damn it. Increase that location's flood level. It's now fully flooded. Water pours out of the moon pool in the center of the room. Each investigator at that location takes a damage. Well, that's just awful. Investigation phase. Okay. Well. Evading and moving is going to be my priorité, because then we're going to get... I can't resign, because I don't know how to reduce the flood level here. But we need to get out. So yeah, we're going to run. We're going to evade, but here's the best part. I'm going to commit Resourceful. I'm going to get this Bless combo happening again. This is going to be real good. I feel strongly it's going to be very useful. Silas, seeing the sort of diving suits along the walls and the creature kind of gurgling, burbling happily as the water starts to bubble up inside the room, he's going to throw one of the suits onto the ground to create a clattering distraction to allow him to rush out of the room. I'm going to evade for 5 to 1. Oh, very good. Very good. An Elder Sign. Commit a skill from your discard pile to this test. Now, it has to be committable. So let's see what I could commit. Signum Crucis wouldn't do anything for me. Cherished Keepsake isn't a skill. Favor of the Sun, I can't commit. I can commit Quick Thinking, Unrelenting, Lucky, Nautical Prowess, Sharp Vision. Oh my god, there's a lot of stuff in here. Okay, lots of stuff. Whee! I'm gonna commit Quick Thinking to this test because it gives me my action back. You love it, you know it. Resourceful fires, and I get my Keep Faith. Okay, here we go. The clattering works like a charm, and Silas is able to essentially float through the room and back out into the sunken grotto. I'm going to spend 4 resources to play Keep Faith and Favor of the Sun again. So I add 4 to the bag and 1 to the bag and 3 go on the Favor of the Sun. It's all fast. Quick Thinking comes back to hand. Action, next action, move to Sunken Grotto. Action, move back up to the lower depths. It's looking good. Not good, obviously. Nothing's looking good. It's looking horrible. But here we are. Silas has a flash of insight where he realizes that that moon pool must lead out from the bottom of the grotto. It must lead out into the ocean. Perhaps this is some sort of... Perhaps the Esoteric Order of Dagon is using this massive cave system to interact with the Deep Ones, perhaps grow some. But at the very least, it must be a way to access the ocean, because how else would the Deep Ones be getting in? It could be horriblier. I agree with that. Enemy phase. Upkeep phase, we ready the Deep One hatchling, which doesn't have Hunter. Thank you very much. We also gain a card and draw a resource. It's another Keep Faith. Well, now things are starting to look very interesting. But we go to 10 out of 10 Doom. And we advance. Agenda 3B, locked in. Oh, shit. Familiar, heavy breathing echoes across the slick rocks of the cavern and the stone walls of the lighthouse. You duck behind some cover as you hear footsteps approaching. Then comes the loud creaking and slamming of a heavy metal door, followed by a telltale click that stops your heart dead. Someone has sealed the exit to the lighthouse above. Search all out-of-play areas for Silas Marsh and spawn him at Sunken Grotto upper depths. It did not say to remove damage from him. I'm going to assume that I don't. I just set him aside, so I think he still has 5 out of 6 damage on him. Remove each Falcon Point location from the game, or add them to the victory display. Well, it didn't mind if I do. Oh! Oh, so these Deep One nursemaids go in the bin, I think? No. Move each enemy and investigator to the Sunken Grotto upper depths. Yeah, balls. No, that's, I mean, that is what it is. Obviously, he's brought his singing fish maids down here, Not fish maids, but you know what I mean. Fish maidens. Oh my god. Okay. Disaster City. So there is no longer any escape possible via the surface. We have been locked in down here. Mermaidens! Merman! Find the 4 bottommost locations that can have their flood levels increased. Increase each of their flood levels. The 4 bottommost. Well, Moonpool's already fully flooded. These places don't say that they can't, so they do. And the Sunken Grotto also can be flooded. And one more location, I'll make it mine. The lower depths here. Is that a bad idea? No, it's fine. It's fine. Agenda 4A. Terror at Falcon Point. The crash of waves on the shoreline echoes through the porous tunnels underneath the lighthouse. Your pulse pounds in your ears as you struggle to stay ahead of the water. Silas Marsh gets +2 per investigator health. So he's now got 8 health, which means he has 3 left. Locations on the same row are connected to one another. Fine. 3 Doom. Beware, the scenario may not end when this agenda advances, but the tide will continue to rise. I have a feeling that each time I advance this agenda, it'll be like, find a certain number of places, increase their flood level. If everything's fully flooded, you lose. That's my thought. But we're still alive. Silas Marsh, 2VP, is still here as well. And I think, if I can get him away from these Schwan maidens, if I can get him away from these Deep One nursemaids, I'll be able to... Or actually, I might not even need to. I might be able to just even kill him. You're absolutely correct, weirdness. You are absolutely correct. Sorry, Liz had to pick up a phone call and let a very confused-looking Ripley into the office, who was like, wow, oh, you're not here. Now she wants to get out because she doesn't know what's going on. Okay, hello, welcome back to Doomed. Thank you for that. Sorry for the interruption. Weirdness is correct. What did I just do? Nothing. Oh, Ripley. Okay. Did we just go and kick Silas Marsh's ass? Oh, Ripley. So that was the, oh, I still need to draw an encounter card. So let's draw a goddamn encounter card. Well, weirdness, it's a good question. You would potentially, yeah, she's cute, Aragorn. You'd potentially still advance the agenda, because, like, the bad stuff would still happen to you. But, if Silas Marsh is in play, set him aside out of play. But he's not, right? He's dead, say, if you had killed him. So that wouldn't, I don't think that would affect things too much. Crosshair does make a good point. There's no resign anymore, except the moon pool. Moon room. Although the moon room, currently I can't resign from it because it is flooded. I need to find a way to unflood it, which there must be a way to do. I don't know how, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. Somehow. Oops. Sorry. Wrong thing. Okay. We have to draw an encounter card. Silas hears the click resound throughout the massive cave structure, and he looks up and he sees that same weather-beaten, torn yellow slicker with a few other sets of webbed feet descending down the steps. We draw an encounter card. Riptide! Test Agility 3. If you fail, choose and discard an asset you control. Oh, thank you, Crosshair. I probably didn't. I did. That's okay. The crash of waves on the shoreline echoes through the porous tunnels under the lighthouse. Your pulse pounds in your ears as you struggle to stay ahead of the water. +2 health for Silas Marsh. Locations of the same are connected. 3 doom. The scenario may not end when this agenda advances. Oh, no, not at all, Crosshair. It's all very confusing. I've confused myself. Riptide! The water around Silas's feet starts to bunch up. And somehow the power of it threatens to pull him off his feet. If you fail, choose and discard an asset you control. If you can't, whoa, the only asset I control is Favor of the Sun. So I don't want to fail this. So I think I'm going to commit some stuff to it. 4 agility to 3. 5 with quick thinking. 6 with Eureka. 6 to 3. Let's pass a Riptide test. 6 to 3. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay. No, that's actually devastating. That's actually legitimately devastating. I'm gonna pull the quick thinking back to hand. The reason that's devastating, friends, is because this now means that the Favor of the Sun has to be discarded. And now I'm trying to figure out if Favor of the Sun... I have to actually check this. Favor of the Sun, blessed tokens, do they go back in the bag? Or do they go back into the pool? They probably go back into the bag, right? Because yeah, that would make the most sense to me. I'm just gonna check though. Oh, actually, I know there's rules around seal. Very strong story on point. But despite Silas's best efforts, he is indeed torn off his feet. His head strikes the cold waters. I'm just going to quickly go back to the beginning because I know there was something to do with Seal. Arf, arf. Seal says, blobbity bloop blop blop. Some cards, no, where is it? A sealed chaos token is not considered to be in the bag. When a chaos token is released, it is returned to the bag. If a card with 1 or more chaos tokens sealed on it leaves play for any reason, the chaos tokens on it are released. When it is released, they go back to the bag. So, there's that, at least. I mean, that's at least. Okay? Just going back to where I was. So, the Riptide pulls the favor of the sun away from me. That's 1, 2, 3 bless that go back in the bag. But we lose the favor of the sun. Hashtag feels bad, man. Really bad. Because I need to kill Silas Marsh, like stat. Hang on, how many bless in the bag? 6? Oh hell, let's just make it 10. You crazy sons of guns. It's not bad, Crosshair. I think if Silas is going down swinging, I think he's gonna take out Silas Marsh. I think that's the game plan. So he strikes his head, shakes himself free, pours some salt water over his long, slicked hair, and starts to make his way up the stairs towards the creature that is descending. If he can get the drop on a Silas Marsh, he'll be in decent stead, I think. Okay, we're back to the investigation phase. I am going to play Keep Faith again. We have to believe in the heart of the cards. Now, we have to believe in the power that is the patron saint of sailors. Action 1. We're moving up. Silas Marsh engages us. Right. Action 2. We're playing brute force with quick thinking. This is doomed, yo! So I don't love this because if I fail, we're in big trouble, and I will. I know I will. I have 8... Oh my fucking god. 8 to 6. 8 to 6. Let's just look at the chaos bag, shall we? I don't actually know if you guys will be able to see it. No, you won't be able to see it. That's okay. There's a lot of tokens in there, my friends. Everything's for sale, my friends. Marsh roars and takes his rusted blade out and again sort of rushes down the stairs towards Silas, who stands firm, ready to essentially catch the blade between his hands and tip Silas Marsh up and over the edge of the stairwell, dropping him onto the ground below. That's the brute force move. Marsh v. Marsh. Marsh v. Marsh. This is the thing. Also, he has retaliate. So legit, if I... So actually, sorry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to retcon that slightly. I'll take a resource, and then on my last action, move up to this thing and attack. So I took a resource, I moved, and now I'm attacking. That's what I'm doing. The reason I'm doing that is so I can take Perseverance if I have to. That actually doesn't matter, does it? I'm dead either way. So in fact, don't bother. Why bother? I can't, I need to succeed by 2 or more. Yeah, that's it. I need to draw some bless. I need to draw a bless token. No, I will do that. Just, it doesn't really matter, does it? Exactly, right? So it doesn't really make sense to, like, take a resource and then, like, have Perseverance, but, like, be like, oh, I persevere! Ugh, and then he kills me anyway. So, F it. Only willpower icons, Crosshair. Isn't that kind of lame? I get it, because it's, like, mental fortitude or whatever. It just has willpower icons. No more combat icons in hand. This is why it's really important to have lots of card draw if you're committing skills. My god. Okay, let's just check this again. I have 8 combat against the 6 of Silas Marsh. I have to succeed by 2 or more, which means I need a 0, an Elder Sign, or a Bless token, or a +1. We're rolling the dice, folks. Do we want to, like, I don't know, draw 3 and choose the best one, or what? This will be the end of the scenario either way, so... You know... Good luck to me, I guess. Silas is putting everything he has into this. Going to attempt to knock the creature down. I could also, like, you know, wait, put bandages on, whatever. But then, it's just not... I don't know. I could have like not done bless and then used bandages and stuff. I just feel like it's not worth it, you know? We're either doing it or we're not doing it. And I think we got to do it. For those of you watching on the VOD, I realize now that there's like probably some more optimal play where I could have just avoided Osiris and like not done this right now. But it feels like I got to do it. Yeah. So 8 to 6. Crosshair, wish me luck, please. Here we go. You absolute beautiful bastard. The creature... Oh! Tumbles! The creature staggers down. The blade passes just underneath Silas's arm as he grabs the spear, looks the creature in the eyes, and then forces his biceps bulging, forces the creature up and over his shoulder, tipping him down the stairwell. And he lands with a sickening thud crunch at the bottom of the grotto. Holy shit. Silas Marsh. Woo! Silas Marsh. 3 damage. We get an action back, which I'm going to use to move, by the way. Silas Marsh dead on the ground. Holy shit. 10 out of 27, I think. It's pretty good. I have 1 action left. I think I need to use that action to move. I'm going to use it to move away from here to... do I have any clues? No, of course not. Why would I have clues? To this tidal tunnel. Ah! What the hell is this? Shrine to Hydra. This is a 5-shroud, 2-clue location with victory 1. It says, clues cannot be discovered from Shrine to Hydra except by investigating. While an investigator controls the green key, it gets -3 shroud. Forced. After Shrine to Hydra is revealed, place the set-aside red key on it. Ooh. Ooh. But, like, let's be real. The green key is one of these tidal pools. I'm not succeeding on a 5 shroud. What is this garbage? Jeez Louise. Okay. Silas runs off and is confronted. I knew it was there. Just wanted to make the story interesting. Oh, it's definitely interesting, Crosshair. He rushes off away from the falling body of Silas Marsh and finds himself face to face with a massive statue down here under the lighthouse. A shrine, clearly. There are candles lit around this sort of Buddha-like figure almost, but it is clearly not human. This is a humanoid, but more fish than man. Enemy phase, no ready enemies that hunt. Upkeep phase, draws us a card and gains us a resource. It's unexpected courage and enough resources to play Perseverance. We go to 1 out of 3 doom, holy shit. And we draw an encounter card. Taken captive, motherfucker. It wasn't me, don't worry. Wait, there could be only 1. You are hurled into the dark cell. Test agility 4. If you fail, you are captured. Place each of your keys on the fucking holding cells. Now, plus side, I just get the keys back, right? So maybe that's not so bad. I have to think about this test, actually, which means I have to take another quick break. Well, I have to take a quick break. And I'm going to think about the test. We're going to be back on Doomed in just a moment. Catch you in a sec. Hello, and welcome back once again to Doomed. Solo playthroughs through Arkham Horror, the card game, with a focus on roleplay and the storytelling. I am thrilled to be returning us to what I believe to be a possible epic conclusion well, not a conclusion, but at least to A Light in the Fog. Silas Marsh has managed to throw the other Marsh, Silas Marsh, the horribly changed creature, over the edge of a cliff to, well, down a stairwell to his doom, and has survived for now. We were, if I recall correctly, we were just about to put some more music on. Oh no, music's great. No worries. we were just about to decide whether we were going to mind being captured so much. The Shrine to Hydra is where the red key is, which is bad. TYBs. Hi, Aragwen. Hi, Crosshair. Hi, Weirdness. Hello, everyone watching. And especially if you're watching on the VOD, thank you. You make the uploading and the editing I do worthwhile. Because otherwise, why would I do it? I did... Right, so I'm currently about to be captured. Capturing... Let's just make sure I know what happens here. Exactly, Crosshair. Not quite dead. From now on, whenever an investigator is captured, hand slot stuff comes back to their hands. They go to holding cells. Holding cells had a clue on it and doesn't any longer. The keys... Oh, that's the difference. The keys would drop on my current location. They don't... No, that's not true. Yeah, that's not true. If you fail, you are captured. Place each of your keys on the holding cells. So no. Okay, so basically I'd be wasting an action getting out of the holding cells. But the question is it worth committing anything to this test? I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's just test it. I think if I get thrown in, I get thrown in. It's just, that's life. You know, 4 to 4. Nope, see, I failed. That's fine. If you fail after this test ends, increase the flood level of your location. After this test ends. Well, the test ended, so the holding cells would go up, but it can't, because it can't be flooded. So Silas has once again been captured, thrown into the cell, but I will free trigger, just pick my keys back up. I don't know what this white key does. I haven't figured that out yet. So we're in the holding cells instead. My first action will be to free myself. So that's done. Then the question becomes, what do we want to do? I need to find a way to lower the flood of the moon room. And ideally, get the clues off the Shrine to Hydra. That would mean, like, getting a clue off of, say, the tidal pool, so I could get this key, which is either purple or green. I have many options, and they're all kind of concerning. I might have to leave here without any red or black keys, just to survive. I don't know how I'm going to do that just yet. But I think then what I'm going to do... Oh, it'd be so cool to get those, but there's no way to pass that test. Especially 2 clues, like... So, I need the green key. But I'm not going to go get the green key. Why would I care? So instead, I'm going to go second action move to the Sunken Grotto, third action move to this tidal tunnel. Thank you very much. Silas easily kind of finds the keys again, gets himself out of the holding cells, and sneaks past the Deep One nursemaids into another edge of the tidal tunnels, looking for any way to get out of this place. The Sunken Archives. After it is revealed, it becomes fully flooded. Well, fuck right off. Plus, place the set-aside black key on it. Okay. Sunken Archives. Clues cannot be discovered while it is flooded. After it is revealed, it becomes fully flooded. Place the set-aside black key on it. Victory 1. Now, unfortunately, it is once again the end. Silas finds his way into a room that seems to be filled with rows upon rows of ledgers? Old records dating back 1800s, 1700s, 1600s. He kind of looks and looks, and they keep getting further back. And they're all quite far off the ground, almost as if it looks like this room should be flooded. And that's when the wave of water comes through. It's now the end of the investigation phase, so I have to either take 3 damage or move below, and I will move below to this tidal pool, because I'm hoping I can maybe get this key, whatever it is. Okay, so the black key, I also can't just get off this location. I can't get clues there while it's flooded, which means I have to get the water out of there somehow. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Enemy phase, no enemies. Upkeep phase draws me a card and gives me a resource. Resourceful? Resourceful will give me, like, perseverance back, maybe? Yeah, exactly, Crosshair. I go to 2 out of 3 Doom. Here, down in the tidal pool again, Silas washes up against the edge of the tidal pool, tries to stand, and, naturally, the Deep One hatchling, which has Surge. You must either lose an action or it attacks you. Well, I'll lose the action. Dissonant Voices. A classic. The creature that pops its head out of the pool is sweet and cute almost until it opens its mouth, and suddenly hundreds of chanting voices in a language that Silas cannot understand but can somehow feel coursing through his veins starts to pound in his ears. Dissonant Voices says you cannot play assets or events. At the end of the round, discard Dissonant Voices. Well, I mean, shit, man. It is what it is. If I resourceful, I can pull something back to hand. What would I want? More Keep Faith, right? No. I'd want the Sharp Vision. So that I can get clues. Right? Yes. Or maybe a Brute Force for enemies? I don't know. Probably the Sharp Vision. We're going to evade with a Resourceful, and then we're going to get the hell out of here. 5-1. Silas is again attempting to slip away from this creature. Oh. That's the plan. Bless. We'll let the Resourceful fire so that I can get the Sharp Vision back. We remove the Bless from the bag. The Deep One hatchling is evaded. Now here's the question, Crosshair. If I stay here, this Deep One hatchling is going to, be a problem again next turn. So I could stay here and try to get this clue. Or I could get out of here and try to find some other thing to do. Man, there's I know what's in the rest of the deck. 2 weaknesses, 2 Jacob Morrisons, an old key ring. Oh yeah, I don't need the green key, you're right. I just need as many intellect icons as possible. Yes, that's the plan. So we're going to move out to the Sunken Grotto. These are all connected, but I can only go up between places here. Okay, that's the plan. You're absolutely correct, Crosshair. Enemy phase, upkeep phase. We draw a card, we gain a resource, we drop Dissonant Voices. Now, I want to be very clear. Look What I Found says play after you fail a skill test by 2 or less, discover 2 clues at your location. However, this specifically says clues cannot be discovered except by investigating. So, no cheating, survivors. With the knowledge that these small little creatures, these hatchlings, are starting to infest the entire place, Silas realizes there must be a reason for that. There must be something here that they are guarding or congregating around. Mythos phase, we go to 3 out of 3 Doom. Oh. Agenda 4B, Full Tide. The tide continues to rise. Find the 4 bottommost locations that can have their flood levels increase. Increase each of their flood levels. If you can't, proceed to R3. Otherwise, flip this agenda back over and continue playing. The 4 bottommost locations that can become more flooded will be those locations. 1, 2, 3, and 4 there. So theoretically, that gives me another 1, 2 kind of round. What's that? 6, maybe 6 more Doom? Look, I'm just going to try to get the key. If nothing else, I'm just going to try to get the red key. And I still need to get out of here. So that's less good. Draw an encounter card. Worth his salt! Attached to Silas Marsh, even if he is in the victory display. After Silas Marsh moves via his hunter keyword, if he is unengaged, resolve his hunter keyword again. When he attacks, it deals +1 damage, +1 horror. Discard this card. Even if he is in the victory display. Oh, I bet if you kill him during round 1, he comes back in round 2. Woof. Worth his salt. Look at that horrible man. Good lord. Okay. You're absolutely correct, Crosshair. That's the game plan. He's a vampire! Ah, ah. Okay. 2 actions to move up and over to the shrine to Hydra. Silas realizes that this shrine must be the key, so to speak, to this location, to this grotto. Again, the little hatchlings, the elder things, the deep ones, they must be congregating around something. There must be something here that he needs. I'm gonna just try to get these clues. I am absolutely infuriated, but we're gonna see how this goes. Let's figure this out. It's 5 shroud. I have 2, 3, 4, 5 intellect, 6, 7, 8, 9 to 5. It's about as good as it's gonna get. 9 to 5. Come on, baby. Let's sharp vision. A perfect -2. If this test is successful by 2 or more, discover an additional clue at this location. Silas starts to hunt and then is stopped dead by something that he somehow didn't see at the foot of the shrine. I'm gonna pick up this red key, and then I'm gonna figure out what the red key is based on the thing here. The red key is a gilded key made of coral and covered in strange glowing runes. The word Hanlthe is inscribed upon the handle. I mean, this key's gonna come in handy, I'll tell you that for free. Holy crap. Enemy phase, upkeep phase. We draw a card and we gain a resource. It's Dreams of the Deep. This is bad. I need to get this the hell out of my hand, like ASAP. We go to 1 out of 3 Doom again, and we draw an encounter card. Hideous Lullaby. If there are no Deep 1 enemies in play, Hideous Lullaby gains Surge, because who would be... Look at the art! They're so cute! Erwin, I feel like you in particular might appreciate this. I know they're like fish-human hybrid kind of things, but like the little kid's just kind of like kicking his feet in the air. Find the Deep 1 enemy with the highest fight value. Test will X. X is the enemy's fight value. If you fail, take 2 horror. That's what my nephews look like. Massive eyes. Pointed teeth. Oh, okay, that's a little weird. Little fins poking off their scaled skin. What? Aragorn, are you sure? Yeah, they're just floating around in the water, you know, making strange noises. Are your nephews some sort of underwater creature? Okay, well, the enemy in play with the highest fight value is Deep 1 Nursemaid. They have 4 fight. Oof. Well, I'm definitely not going to survive this, so... Aragorn! Killing it. Love that. Where are we at here in terms of music? Oh, I've got a few left. Ah, the hell with it. Put it back to this part. Okay. They've got 4 fights, so I'm testing 2 to 4. Yeah, exactly. Crosshair, I'm going to have to play it. Be nice if I had 1 more horror left, but I don't. Or that test of will. But we're just going to go 2 to 4. Ooh! Ooh! Okay, this is +0, and I can commit a skill card from my discard pile. Thank you. I'm gonna commit the one that helps me pass. I'm gonna commit. Nautical prowess would give me will and intellect, but unexpected courage gives me 2 wild. So I pass. I can't believe it. Elder sign. Silas hears the strange sounds of what he thinks are rushing water until they start to resolve themselves into words. He realizes the creatures are singing to one another. They are perhaps a family? Go back to the investigation phase. Okay, I need to unflood this room. There's basically just 2 locations left, right? This tidal tunnel and this tidal tunnel. Because I know what's on this one and that one. So, first action, we're going to move to the end. And wish me luck here. Ah, sure. It's the fully flooded other thing. I can action move to any flooded cave location. Which could... Oh, balls! You're absolutely right, Crosshair. Thank you. I should have done that. I should have done that. That's foolish. I would have still moved and checked, and then I would have moved down. This way I moved, and now I'm going to move to a flooded location somewhere. I have to survive this Streams of the Deep as well, which sucks. So, this is a cave, yes. Second action, we're gonna swim through the underwater cavern to back to the grotto. And then I will use a clue to check this location just so I know what it is before I go in there. It's called the Pump Room. Test Intellect 2 or Agility 2. If you succeed, choose 2 locations, decrease the flood level of one, and increase the flood level of another. If you succeed by 2 or more, you may instead choose just 1 location, decrease its flood level. Okay, so the Pump Room allows you to basically move water from one room to another. So if you were playing multiplayer, someone would sit, one of your smart people, or one of your agile people would sit in here and just pump water out of the rooms that you wanted and into other ones that you didn't care about. Unfortunately, I do not have that luxury. So, last action. Last action, we're gonna move in there. What the hell is the white key for? It didn't do nothing. What the fuck is this garbage? Yeah. That's it. We're gonna get in there, last action. I don't have any actions left, which kind of sucks. The whir of machinery draws... Oh dear, weirdness, I'm sorry. The whir of machinery draws Silas's ear as he races down the hall and finds a room lit with electric lights, full of pistons, steam, and valves. He realizes that this must be a room where you can control, at least to a certain extent, some of where the water is flowing in this place. It's the end of my turn, which means I have to reveal Dreams of the Deep and take 2 damage. I'm going to cancel that 2 damage with Perseverance. Yeah, Crosshair. I think that's right. So I basically just sit here until the agenda advances. We upkeep, we draw a card and gain a resource. It's Jacob Morrison, which will be very useful if we're trying to pass a goddamn test. Mythos phase brings us... We go to 2 out of 3 Doom, and we draw an encounter card. Here in the Pump Room, Silas is looking around, trying desperately to figure out what levers and knobs do what, and obviously it's the Deep One Hatchling, which has Surge on it. Lose an action or it attacks you. Maybe I'll just have it attack me so I can kill it, over-succeed with Dreams of the Deep, and just get the hell out of here. Actually, is that a good idea? I'd be like 2 to 1. Yeah. I don't want to lose the action. Yes I do. I'm basically just... I was thinking of putting a bunch of icons into the agility test on the pump room eventually, but... Evade. Yeah, it's true. It's true. We'll lose an action. But it has Surge on it, so of course we draw Hideous Lullaby one more time, baby. Test. Will X. If you fail, take 2 horror. Well, this would do it anyway. We're this close, and we might not survive. If I put in everything I have, I would be 5 to 4. I guess I gotta, right? I could put in Jacob Morrison as well, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna play him. I also want to get these goddamn Dreams of the Deep out of my hand. 5 to 4? Pass. Pass and bring the Unexpected Courage back to hand. Ah! I'm always so surprised to see Bless cards. I'm like, whoa, what are Silas is once again able to calm his shattered nerves as the little creatures in here begin to croak and sing as well. We have 2 actions in the room. Hashtag the room. I'm thinking kill the Deep One hatchling. Then put down Jacob Morrison so that I at least have some sort of like buffer from death. Or actually even, no, evade. Yeah, that's what I'm, ooh, is that a good idea? Oops, I didn't mean to do that. If I evade, I would be going 3 to 1. Just thinking about how I want to do this. I could just kill it 2 to 1. I have to commit and succeed with Dreams of the Deep, so... Oof, it's always so concerning. Silas kind of wants to, like, silence the little croaking creature before it draws more attention, but at the same time, they're just so sweet. If I defeat the Deep One hatchling, one of the mothers comes closer, but that's okay. If I evade it, I have to then take another, like, problem next turn, basically. So I kind of want to just destroy it. So let's do it. I think I'm going to go 4 to 1, +2, -2. Exactly. 4 to 1. That's fine. That's fine. The Dreams of the Deep go away. We defeat and move a nursemaid closer. Last action, I put out your friend and mine, Jacob Morrison. Okay. All of that to say, Silas does indeed, he hears something kind of shuffling down the hall, so he rushes over and tries to silence the creature. It bites his hand a little bit, and he ends up squishing it. It lays there, not moving. And as he turns back towards the pump room, from the other end, he hears additional shuffling. He goes to hide, but the shuffling grows louder, and he can only hear the call of a voice that he wished he had heard even earlier. Marsh! Get down here, Marsh! Jacob Morrison, the Coast Guard captain, is here. Which might make a very big difference. Enemy phase, upkeep phase. We draw a card, we gain a resource. It's the other Jacob Morrison. Fine. We go to 3 out of 3 Doom, which means we increase the flood level of each of the 4 bottommost locations that can be more fully flooded. So that's there. My location is one of the bottommost. And I'll do the Temple of Shrine to Hydra or whatever. But you're right, Crosshair. The plan now is GTFO as we draw an encounter card. Undertow! Oh! After you move, take 2 damage and 2 horror. Discard Undertow. Discard a card from your hand. Test Combat or Agility 3 to fight the pull of the tides. I am particularly displeased with this. I need to pump out the moon room, basically. That's it. That's all. And then I need to deal with the friggin'... Well, Undertow could just straight kill Jacob Morrison, because it deals 2 damage and 2 horror. Let's just think about this. Move to the Sunken Grotto, move down to the Final Depths, move across to the moon room, and resign is 4 actions. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's okay. 2 actions to pump, 1 action to move, 1 action, move, resign. Yuck. We're gonna test agility too. Silas, oh god, and we have to like put the water from that room up into one of the other rooms, which is just horrific. Oh god, you're right, Crosshair. Well, I'm fucked then. No, I'm not quite fucked. I have to, my last action would be in the moon room, which would theoretically be unflooded, right? At which point I would then be able to resign the next turn. The problem is if I draw an encounter card that says flood your room or whatever, right? The room that you're in. This is one of those things where it's just like, if you had multiplayer, you'd have someone would be doing this work and then someone else would be whatever. Okay. We're testing agility 2. 4 to 2. Fuck it, right? We're just gonna go for it. 4 to 2. Good. We're going to unflood and fully flood. Relying on a moon room to not be affected by the tides? Risky business. He's not a scientist, Aragwen. He's a sailor. What time is it? Good lord, we got to get this scenario done. Second action, we're going to unflood the damn moon room again, baby. Oh, actually, Crosshair, I have an idea. We're going to go, again, 4 to 2. Just straight in. That's fine by me. We're gonna unflood the moon room. Silas frantically turning gears, spinning wheels, and his... Oh, you're right, Crosshair, sorry. Succeeded by 2 or more, you may instead choose 1 location to decrease its flood level, so I will remove this Sunken Grotto. Flooding, thank you, Crosshair. Silas, and joined now by the very unexpected arrival of one Jacob Morrison, is just, he's here, like, ready to try to figure out what they need to do. There's indicators of what the various rooms are, but it's all mechanical, it's all faded. Silas is doing his best, but he figures, at the end of the day, that the room that seems to be the primary room that has like an unflooding kind of mechanical device, that must be the moon pool. That must be somewhere to go. Last action, watch this, Crosshair. I'm gonna move to the Sunken Grotto. Oh no, I'm not. Sorry, no. Before I do that, I'm gonna deal with Undertow. Undertow says, discard a card from your hand. Test combat or agility 3 to fight the pull of the tides. If you succeed, discard Undertow. So I will. I'm going to commit the other Jacob Morrison. I'm going to go 5 to 3, and I just hope to succeed. Nope. Okay. Well, it sucks. Oh, boy. Here's my thought. If I move, I could just kill the other Jacob Morrison, which I should have done. In the investigation phase, I'm at a fully flooded location, so I'd move down. And then I'm slightly closer to the moon room, which is good. Or I could just wait, draw cards. One of the cards is going to be leg injury. I can't do that. I have to go. Okay. Silas leaves Jacob behind as he rushes out into the Sunken Grotto. He figures the Coast Guard captain's right behind him, right? At the end of the investigation phase, I'm at a fully flooded location, so I have to move down, which I do. Enemy phase, no enemies that hunt. Upkeep phase draws me a card and gains me a resource. It's old Keyring. Mythos phase. This is the key one, folks. Pun very much intended. We draw an encounter card. Silas is headed for the moon room. Oh. Deep 1 assault. Disengage from each deep 1 at your location. Each deep 1 at your location and each connecting location engages you. If no enemies engage you, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a deep 1 spotted engaged with you and shuffle the encounter deck. So that would be the deep 1 nursemaid and the deep 1 hatchling. They both... Deep 1 Nursemaid says, after it engages you, draw the top card of the encounter deck. It loses Surge. I'm going to do that. Undertow, great. Goes right into my threat area. Deep 1 Hatchling says, after you defeat Deep 1 Hatchling... Oh no, says, either lose an action or it attacks you. Well, I'm going to lose the action. So, move, resign is what I want to do. Unfortunately, I am now in a position wherein I cannot do this. What an absolute nightmare. Because specifically, it's the undertow that would kill me as well. Oh my god, what a nightmare. Silas descends, and just as he can see the glow from the room off to his left, suddenly a howling shriek from above as one of the mothers descends, teeth and fangs, I guess, bared, claws grasping at Silas. Okay. So it's the undertow that's the problem, right? I might draw an Elder Sign. You never know. If I evade a Deep 1 Nursemaid, it goes back to being aloof. Well, sorry, yes. So normally it is Crosshair. Deep 1 Assault says each Deep 1 at your location and each connecting location engages you. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So if I evade it, it becomes aloof again, which is good. Then it will buff this hatchling, but maybe that's okay. It's the undertow now that's the problem, right? Because what I would want to do is just move resign. Move resign would result in me taking 3 damage and 4 horror. I could discard undertow by discarding a thing from my hand, but then it would still be move resign and I would die. So we evade the Deep 1 Nursemaid. That's the first most important thing. 4-2, just get it, Silas. Good enough? Good enough. Well, if you fail? Yeah, that's fine. The Deep 1 Nursemaid is evaded as Silas attempts to dodge the outstretched claws and shrieking fangs of the creature. Move? I can't move and resign now, so I have to... After you defeat Deep 1 Hatchling, move the nearest ready, unengaged Deep 1 towards your location. It loses aloof. That's actually okay as well. So maybe I'll just try to kill it rather than evade it. Yeah. 4-1? Oh my god. Bring it on. 4-1. Oh, baby. I hate to say it. Oh, yeah, you're right, Crosshair. But I have nowhere to move to that's oh, sorry, yes I do, sorry. So I will take that back. You're absolutely correct. Well, so here's the thing, Crosshair, right? And this is the problem with having so much, like, trauma in the deck. I shouldn't have let Jacob just die like that. That was really silly. If I test and succeed at undertow, then it goes away. My last action could be move. I would take a horror from the Deep 1 Hatchling, and then another horror from the Deep 1 Hatchling in enemy phase. Dead. I could... I can't stay here or I take 3 damage. Dead. Exactly. So, devastatingly, I believe this is the end of the line for Silas Marsh. You're absolutely correct about the 3 damage from the flooded location. I totally forgot. Because, yeah, I can't go anywhere else. I mean, it doesn't matter if I go anywhere else. The issue... If I had taken the horror, I would have had... See, this is maybe cheating now. If I had taken a horror instead of an action from Deep One Hatchling, I'd have 2 actions left. Evade, and then now it would be evade and kill and move. Fuck me. So dumb. I gotta do this, right? Yeah. I specifically said I wouldn't do this. I specifically said I wasn't gonna retcon for the end like this. But I think there's a slightly better play, and I think if the game doesn't want me to make it out of here alive, Silas is not gonna make it out of here alive. But if I can, I will. Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, weirdness, you know, it's not ideal, right? We're gonna... So here's... I pulled a 4-1 already, and I killed the hatchling. I'm gonna say that was done. That's fine. Which moves this other nursemaid slightly closer. Actually, it moves this Deep One hatchling slightly closer. Now, I have an action left. That action has to be to move. Oh, actually, so I'm still fucked anyway, right? Because I have to succeed at this test. I have to discard a card from my hand to try to fight the undertow before it drags him away. Silas is driving creatures off left and right, but the water has reached up just under his chin. It's threatening to drown him as the tide starts to pull him back towards the moon room. I have to discard a card from my hand, test combat or agility 3. So, straight up and down, I have to test this. 4-3. If I pass, I will have an action left to move to the moon room, where I will be alive. 4-3. This is it. It's always going to come down to these things. Okay. Pass. Action. Move. I can't resign. I don't have an action left. Devastating. But here we are. Enemy phase. No enemies on the board that hunt. Upkeep. We draw a card and we gain a resource. Is it leg injury? Of course it is! Now this is interesting because leg injury says after you take a move, resign, or evade action, you cannot take any of those types of actions. That's it, Crosshair. That's exactly the problem. We go to 2 out of 3 Doom, and my encounter card, which I would argue is the most important one of the scenario. Silas can see the bottom of the moon room. He can see the diving suits. He's just starting to pull one on. And it's literally the worst card of the game. After Deep One Bull engages you, choose and discard a card from your hand. I don't have any. After an investigator defeats another Deep One at any location, it moves. That's fine. That doesn't matter. So here's the issue. Leg injury says, after you take a move... Oh, no! No, what am I doing? Oh my god, so dumb. It's fine. Investigation phase, action, resign. Resign doesn't trigger attacks of opportunity, and I can still do it, and I don't have to evade. The red key goes on the act. Silas can see behind him one of the larger creatures stumbling into the room, roaring at him, swimming faster than he's ever seen. He gets into one of the suits and leaps into the moon pool, and hopefully makes it out and beyond. Action 1, resign. Advance. Yeah, I agree, Crosshair. Act 3B, bound for Hanithle. If one investigator resigned from the moon room, The underwater tunnels seem to go on forever, stretching into murk-ridden eddies. Dark salt water crashes against the glass helmet of your suit. After what feels like an eternity, you burst into the cold evening air, chilled to the bone. You pull the heavy suit off, piece by piece, the moment you reach the shore. R1. Which, I'm putting this out there, there's some luck involved. There's some very lucky things involved. There's a soupçon of retconning involved. Oh, but he survived. Holy shit. He survived. R1. Exhausted, you throw yourself onto the rocky shore. Waves lap at your ankles as you stare up into the sky. Behind the clouds, deep crimson hues spell an ominous end for all humankind. Your skull pounds with agony as you struggle to remember why. The moon and sun slide into alignment. A thunderous crash resounds in the distance. Dark churning clouds swirl and seethe over the hateful ocean. What does it all mean? What is the truth behind the esoteric order of Dagon? The truth hidden in Devil Reef? Darkness overtakes your senses once more. For each investigator who resigned through the moon room, record that Silas has a diving suit. I like that. Whoops. Silas has a diving suit. If the red key was on the act, the investigators possess the key to Nyaha-Nithle. Ha-Nithle. Silas possesses the key to Ha-Nithle. Nailed it. It's pretty much the second language. For each set-aside relic story asset that was added, blah, blah, blah. I don't have any of those. Each investigator earns experience equal to victory X. Do not spend any of it yet. You will be instructed to do so later. Proceed to scenario 7, the lair of Dagon. Let's have a look at experience, shall we? 2 from Osiros, 1 from the lighthouse, 1 from the keeper's cottage. That's 4. 1 from the shrine to Hydra. That's 5. I know exactly what I'm going to spend my experience on, and I'm thrilled about it. And I think that's it. 5 XP. I know exactly what I'm spending it on, and the answer is additional health and sanity. Oh, yes. Scenario 7. The Lair of Dagon. Oh, shit. 1 week earlier. Oh, Nikes. I'm not going to be able to spend experience, am I? Uh-oh. Well, that's interesting, because that's the other thing. You know, interestingly, I think the campaign wants you to, like, you're in like a flashback present and past kind of thing, right? So if you earn experience in the present, you can't then spend it in the past. It's as if you don't have it, or what, vice versa. Hey, let's say we did it 100%, easy peasy, no big deal, basically made it. Thank you all so much for joining me on Doomed. I'm thrilled that there's a little bit more of Silas Marsh's story, as beaten and bruised and bloodied as he is. I'm really excited about it. Thank you so much for joining me tomorrow on RPG Clinic. Of course, always join the Discord if you want to know what's going on in the world of the RPG Clinic. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. on RPG Clinic. We haven't turned our clocks back yet. Join us for the Changeling River Wild Froyo session. We're going to have a chat. We're going to see what we loved, what we want to hear more of, questions, concerns, comments, and a little bit about what we have coming up on RPG Clinic. After a few weeks off, we're coming back raring to go with a mini campaign, Blades in the Dark, run by yours truly, me, Silas Marsh, Scott Humphrey. I am absolutely ecstatic to be doing that, and I'm so excited. Please join us for more streams across the week, throughout the weekend. Take care of each other, drink lots of water. I'm, like, emotionally exhausted from that, wildly. It's a card game, Scott. Get it together. Thank you all so much for joining me. Silas Marsh and his journey continues on Doomed next time. Catch you later. Something fish people. Bye.